Zoli's always been one of those brands that I've never really had much chance at shooting. They're not very common in our area, but after a quick chat with Sam at Edgar Brothers on the phone, we headed out Cocket Farm and I had a demo afternoon with him looking at the range of guns. And he very kindly sent me out the one that I enjoyed the most, which is the Kronos M-Sport. You all know I love a mid-rib, so let's get into some plays. Ball. 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 For such a big old heavy gun, it moves incredibly well. Now it comes in at near on £9, but the balance point of the gun is absolutely slap bang in the middle. It balances phenomenally well and it just makes it feel that bit lighter. I mean, it realistically feels like an £8 gun. It's very, very quick to move, even with those big 32-inch barrels and that big rib. So you've got a nice pair of close quarters targets. Should make what light work of these. Ball. 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 The guys here have got some cracking targets on. That is really, really good. And it makes a really good example of what the gun can do. We've had some big, long, pushing on targets with big lead where, because of the weight, you've got that really nice control. But here, some really nice fast targets over the water. This just tackles them with absolute ease. And if you thought this stand was good, wait till you see the next one. Ball. th and final stand of the day. I've really enjoyed shooting this. I knew there was going to be no question about it. You all know I love a step or ramp rib or mid rib, whatever you want to call it. And after having already shot it with Sam, it's one of those guns that I've felt comfortable with all day. The only thing that has put me off a bit is that real step in the rib. I'm not going to say put me off actually, that is a lie. I thought it was going to put me off. And I know a lot of people say you shouldn't look at your rib, but you do, you have to. You have to be aware of it. Obviously, once you then shoot a target, no. And you just don't notice it at all. And that's something that I've found not strange, but I just thought it would be really, really sort of impair my vision in front of me. And I've just not noticed it at all. And I just felt just so at ease with it. Now, when you look at other stuff on the market, they're by no means the prettiest. But my God, one thing I can tell you is the quality of these guns, the attention to detail, the engineering that goes into them is absolutely phenomenal. They're very, very reliable, well put together guns. So we'll give this one a go because this target looks absolutely awful. Oh. Right, specifications first. The one we were shooting is 32-inch, however, they are available from Zoli in a 29.5-inch barrel, 3-inch chambered, steel-proof, multi-choke. On the Zoli Kronos Action, with the Monte Carlo style stock, adjustable comb, and a 14.75-inch length of pull. You can have custom dimensions done from the guys at Edgar Brothers if you do feel like it. It tips the scales at a whopping £8 14 ounces, which it really doesn't feel like. And it is presented, as per most stuff nowadays, Zoli case, 5 chokes, choke key, and all your bits and bobs for your adjustable comb. Now these go out the door at $5,995. Sorry guys, I got that wrong. The retail on these is actually 5,500. There are a number of premium dealers around the country who do stock these. It's got to be one of the best balancing guns I have handled for quite some time. Now, Lakeside had some really challenging targets on the other week when we went out and filmed this, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't on the bestest of forms. I was full of hay fever, I could hardly see, and I did struggle. However, when I shot this initially with Sam at Cockett Farm on the FitAss layout, I gelled incredibly well with it. As you will have seen from our previous videos, you all know I love a ramped rib or a mid rib, whatever you want to call it. They just really seem to suit me. That more head-up shooting position just seems to really work for me, and the sight picture is just absolutely awesome. But yeah, on the day when we went out and filmed, I didn't shoot my best. I just wasn't my usual self. However, as I've already said, this has got to be one of the nicest handling heavy guns that I've felt for quite some time. Now, the guys at Zoli are extremely, extremely tight on their quality control. They are absolutely just professionals at what they do. I mean, look at that. Absolutely beautifully on the joint pin. Nothing goes out the factory without it has been through a stringent period of testing, making sure that everything is right about this gun. And that's one of the big things that stands out to me about the Zolis is, while some of the models like this one might not be the prettiest, the attention to detail in the finishing of the gun is absolutely second to none. I cannot find a fault with any of the fit or any of the finish on this gun whatsoever. It is absolutely impeccable. And that's probably one of the big selling points for Zoli, is that everything they do is 100% correct. The engineering behind the gun has been extremely well thought out. Even things like, you know, little things like that. Bit of checkering on the top of the stock, just where that thumb sits, just to give you a little bit of extra grip. I mean, it's really something extremely small, but it shows you just the level of thinking that has gone into not just this gun, but every gun that the guys at Zoli produce. And again, one thing I can vouch for is the reliability of these. I don't think I've ever seen one through the workshop, touch wood, for a repair. It's always just been for standard servicing. And if Dad says that something is well put together, they are well put together. The other thing that I like about these is that they are a dropout trigger system. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than taking out, say, like a DT11 or a Perazzi action, where it's just a process of moving the safety and opening the gun. With these, they have a little screw in the back of the action just here in the trigger plate. You loosen that off with a few little clicks, it drops out, which means that, you know, God forbid that you do have any malfunctions with the gun, you can whip that trigger unit out within a matter of 1 or 2 minutes, and a fresh one can be in, or a new spring can be added. It really does just make this gun extremely easy to work on, or to be able to replace a trigger unit well out in the field. I'm surprised that they're not more popular. I am starting to see more people shoot them around here, but what I am tending to see, and again speaking with Sam, is it seems to be more popular up north of us, where they do sell really, really well. I mean, the guys at Thimbleby are probably one of the biggest premium dealers in the country of these. I really do think that these are one of the most underrated shotguns on the market. Now, a lot of clay shooters, to them, it's just a tool. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, as long as it works, as long as it feels right. And this is absolutely all of that down to a T. Like I say, it's not the prettiest of guns, there's not a lot of engraving on it, a little bit of gold inlay with the Zoli name, and that is the extent of it. But performance-wise, absolutely perfect. Just the feel of the gun, for such a big, heavy gun at £8.14, as soon as you put it in the shoulder, that is not £8.14 anymore. It's more like an £8 gun. It's just, It's down to where the guys have positioned the weight of the gun through manufacturing. And you pick certain guns up that are, let's say, lighter and don't feel as nice at handling. They could be front heavy or stock heavy. This is absolutely perfect. The weight is in the center of the hands where it needs to be, and it moves. Now, because of that, on close, quick targets, you have the ability, with that balance of the gun, that feel of it, to be very quick, very instinctive, and just drive that gun through a target. Yet, on bigger, longer targets, because of the weight, you've still got the ability to drive that gun really slowly and really controlled. It is pretty much probably one of the perfect all-round sporting clays guns. It'd be really nice to have a go with one in the 29.5-inch barrels and just see how that handles in comparison to the 32. But it's very difficult to say much about this because they're just so well put together. And I feel really privileged that I've had the opportunity to have a shot with one. Because like I say, we've had probably one Zoli, a 20 bore through the shop, and I've never had a chance to have my hands on one. And I've thoroughly enjoyed shooting that one. So thank you for watching this week, guys. Be back to you next week with another video.